welcome back to the Balanced Blue. Today I wanted to touch base a little bit about the world of lucid dreaming. Basically what it is the ability to exert some level of control over our dreams, personal growth and development, spiritual experiences, connection with the dead. It really depends on what kind of beliefs you have, but it could be as simple as just wanting to have fun. Lucid dreaming is so much fun. In this video, we're going to talk about the basics of lucid dreaming, what the astral realm is, what your sleep cycles are, when you dream inside your sleep cycles, different techniques you can use and practice daily to increase your recall and increase the vividness and eventually take control. I wanted to talk a little bit about a experience that I had when I was in first grade that actually started my life of lucid dreaming. I had a nightmare, and I'm not even sure where it came from because I wasn't watching horror movies or anything when I was in first grade. After that, I had a really difficult time sleeping. I couldn't fall asleep, or I'd wake up and not be able to fall back asleep because of that nightmare. The parents had me visit a school counselor where we could talk about the dream and come up with ways to overcome the sleep issues. And the main takeaway from that was I had to recognize when I was dreaming, and if something scary happened in my dream, I just had to tell myself that I was dreaming. And that actually worked. So from a very, very early age, I was able to recognize when I was dreaming. When I would wake up and I was scared, I would just have to tell myself, oh, it's okay, it's just a dream. And eventually I would know while I'm inside of the dream that I'm dreaming. So my dreams became more and more and more vivid throughout those years, and I didn't really realize that I was technically lucid dreaming as a kid my entire life until about 13-ish years old when I started learning about what lucid dreaming was. And that's when I really started to take into action these different techniques to strengthen my lucid dreaming and take legitimate control over my dream. Now, they might be techniques that you can find online or not, but the ones that I use, I just kind of thought to myself, okay, this is what I want to do, this is how I'm going to do it, and it worked. It worked for me. It's believed that it is an exploration and connection of the conscious mind and the subconscious mind. So when you're able to lucid dream, you can really explore those two worlds and take advantage of that opportunity. Some people can use this as a tool to overcome some mental challenges, maybe overcome some fears that you have, so you can expose yourself, control the dream, and face that fear. Lucid dreaming happens, and dreaming in general can happen on the astral realm. It is a non-physical realm that is beyond our physical world, and some believe that spirit also have access to this world, so some can look at lucid dreaming as a tool to actually connect with past loved ones or a spirit guide. Another way you can access the astral realm is through astral projection, and that's where we have the conscious ability to disconnect our soul from our body, and it enters into the astral realm. But that is a topic for another time. It's important to talk a little bit about the sleep cycles. There are 4 sleep cycles that we have. Within the first sleep cycle, it lasts about 5 to 10 minutes, and that's when we're most easily awakened. Then we go into the second stage of our sleep cycles, and it's a little bit deeper of a sleep. Our heart rate increases, our body temperature drops, and we start to drift off into a deeper sleep. Now let's pause here. So dreaming can happen in any of the 4 stages, but it is most prevalent in the REM cycles. So we have non-REM and we have REM. REM is rapid eye movements, and this happens when we are in our deeper sleep cycles. Our deeper sleep cycles are within our 3rd and 4th stages. As we enter our 3rd stage of sleep, we produce these long, slow delta waves that also extends into our 4th stage. During these stages, we are in REM, and our brain activity is very similar to when we are awake. After the 4th stage, we enter back into the 2nd stage, and then we enter into REM sleep. This is when our brain activity is most similar to when we are awake. and this is also when our dreaming is most active. There's a lot to talk about with sleep cycles, how you can balance them, what can affect your ability to enter into sleep cycles, but this is going to be a topic that we can go into more depth on another video. Alright, now it's time to talk about some techniques, the most interesting part, right? Okay, so the most important thing that you want to make sure you're doing is using a dream journal. This is something that you're going to see listed as one of the first things, the first recommended techniques and methods on anywhere you search for lucid dreaming. There's so many different methods of doing this. You could get an app on your phone where you can log it. You can write it into a dream journal. You could take out your computer and do a webcam video. You could take out your phone and do an audio message. You can call your friends, write it down in your notes. Whatever way that you want to record your dreams, just make sure that you're doing that every time that you're able to recall anything. It doesn't matter if it's segments, if it's one little detail, or if it's the entire dream. Try to record as much as you can think about. Now you want to think about the taste, the sound, the emotions, the feelings, the sensations, the colors, the smells, the faces, the environment, the event, everything and anything, any detail that you can think of, write that down. Because over time, this vividness is going to become more and more intense, more clear, more easily defined. And that starts by identifying these things and recognizing them while you're dreaming, and when you're awake to look back and recall, okay, the sky was blue, the wood on the wall was kind of, what's that word? Weathered and old, you know, it was musty. I walked up the stairs and it was creaky. So there's so many different details that you can think about. Just doing this is really going to help strengthen your recall and how vivid your dreams are. And the more vivid it is, the more control you're going to have, because you're able to analyze the entire environment around you, and then you can take control of it. When you're going to record your dream, just be sure that you do this before you pick up your phone to start looking at your social media or notifications. If you're going to use your phone to record your dream, that's great, but do not look at anything else. Do not get your mind thinking about other things, and do not stand up out of bed yet unless you have to go get your journal or something, but usually it's best just to keep it by your bed, because if you get up and you start moving around and your brain starts functioning for your day, then it's really going to become easier and easier and easier to forget what your dreams were. So you want to recall everything immediately after waking up. The next thing that you want to do is to identify a dream signal, and this could be anything from when I look at my watch, it doesn't have like a legitimate time. When I look in the mirror, my face is fuzzy. For me, it was whenever I can fly. So I ended up creating this like rule book inside my mind. Like while I'm in my dream, I came up with more and more rules. I didn't really come up with this outside of my dream. I came up with it in the dream world. And it developed over time, but basically what mine was, and it evolved. You know, it changed. These rules changed, but it started that I had to have like a certain amount of room, and I had to be outside. I had to have an open top. I needed to have a running start before I could actually take off. I needed to have enough runway so I could build the power to actually go. So I couldn't have any kind of ceiling. I couldn't have like a short room. It had to be outside. Another rule I ended up having for myself is I had a certain amount of power. Eventually I had to utilize the trees and the rooftops around me. So if I was starting to fall, I would like grab onto trees or I'd jump on rooftops. So I'd like still have this power in me, and I'd be like, whoa, jumping across rooftops. I rooftop and treetop jump so often. It's one of my favorite things to do in my dreams. But over time, I was able to fly inside rooms. I didn't have to have like a takeoff. It was more of like a training manual of telling me when I'm dreaming. So like even something like if I'm standing on a sidewalk, I could lift my legs up and I would be levitating. That was my signal that I'm in a dream. So I chose something that was really fun and something that I generally just wanted to accomplish in my dreams. I really wanted to fly, and it was something that I became really good at. I have this whole story about this entity that was chasing me through my dreams. I was dream hopping from dream to dream, past dreams that I've had, so I know what was going to happen in these dreams, and this entity through like over the course of like a year or 2 years was chasing me to try to take my flying power from me. And it didn't know how to dream hop until like a year later, it finally learned how to dream hop after me. And eventually it caught me and it sucked a lot of that flying power out of me, and when I would try to fly after that, I wouldn't be able to reach certain heights and I would lose power and I would just fall. And I don't wake up. I don't wake up when I like fall from skies or I get shot 10 times. Like, I don't wake up. That's something that we can learn and teach ourselves to do, but I had to regain that flying power over time, and it's never been the same since then, but I've definitely regained that power, but it still feels a little fragile, so I utilize my rooftops and my treetops. So basically, you just want to make sure that you have some kind of signal that tells you that when you're dreaming, then you can start taking your next actions toward any goals that you've set for that night, but we'll touch on goals in just a moment. The next thing that you really want to think about and focus on are the sensations that you have when you're dreaming. So what does it feel like when you're walking, when you're running, when you're swimming? A lot of people experience different sensations when they're walking, like they feel like they're walking through jello, and when you're swimming, you may end up having these abilities like breathing underwater. That is something that took me some time to accomplish, but I have done that. I have accomplished that a few years ago, and it is quite the exhilarating experience, and it's something that takes practice. At least for me, it wasn't like, okay, now I can breathe underwater. It was like, okay, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, and I had to like learn these like breathing techniques. I breathe differently underwater. So these different sensations is something that you're really going to want to pay attention to, because that can really also help signal to you that you're in a dream rather than in the reality, whatever you want to consider this world. And yeah, you can differentiate these two worlds. Lucid dreaming and the dream world in general, it has this feeling that's really indescribable. It feels like an intense familiarity while having this eerie unfamiliarity. It feels like a completely different world, like a reflection of our own, but where anything is possible. It almost feels like a thick and warm and fluid world where everything is connected, and I can feel this sensation now, like I can almost taste it, but it's really hard to describe. But when you become more familiar with the dreaming world, you yourself will probably end up experiencing this different sensation. But it's a really comforting, nostalgic feeling. And that's the best way that I can describe it. It's definitely nostalgic. Maybe that's just what the astral realm feels like. Basically, your recall is the ability to remember the details in your dream. Some ways that you can strengthen your recall is to keep your dream journal. Try not to wake up with an alarm if you're able to, as that alarm can just pull us right out of the dream and make it really difficult to remember. And even as a strong lucid dreamer and a strong active dreamer, even I find it really difficult to remember dreams oftentimes when I have an alarm that wakes me up. Set intentions with yourself before you sleep that you are going to remember the dream and that you are going to recall every detail. And as you go throughout the day, try to think about that dream. If you remember any details, just continuously think about it and make it feel as if a memory, that you can recall every aspect of that dream. It's just crystal clear in your mind. So when you get to that point of ready to go to sleep, you tell yourself, okay, I'm going to remember everything again, and I'm going to think about it in the morning like this. I'm going into my dream with the intention of remembering everything. And just that alone, that is one of the biggest techniques that has helped me. It is so strong, setting these intentions. And if you didn't listen to any other technique, this is one of the most important ones. I guess people would argue that keeping a dream journal is one of the most important. I'm going to tell you right now, I didn't keep a dream journal up until maybe 16, and I've been lucid dreaming my whole life. So you don't need a dream journal, you just need to be able to have strong recall, strong intentions, and strong goals. Another way that you can increase your dream recall is to eliminate substances that will interfere with your sleep cycles and ability to enter different sleep cycles. Some of these can include marijuana, alcohol, caffeine. They can all make it difficult to remember the details of your dreams and have strong recall. So if you're able to cut any of these substances out and you are valuing lucid dreaming over any of these substances, then I highly recommend cutting some of those out to increase your ability to recall your dreams. If you want to control your dreams, the next step would be to set some goals for yourself every night until you're able to actually accomplish those goals inside of your dream. Then you can switch to the next one. But these can be things like, I want to make it to outer space. I want to fly over Thailand. So until you're able to accomplish goals that you've set for yourself inside of your dream, then you can take that step into actually controlling your environment. Some practices that you can take are jumping into past dreams, hopping into a new location inside of your dream, inside of the current dream, or even taking the dream that you are currently in and restarting the scenario and then trying to change it. You can try to predict what's going to happen and then act according to that, or you can try to even manipulate the dream yourself and control what's going to happen. A technique I found to be really important is to learn how to not wake up after you've done things like fallen from buildings or got stabbed or something, whether it's painful or something that you should have died from or something that usually would have jolted you awake. Learn how to overcome that and stay inside of your dream and then respawn in a new spot, whether it's in a new dream or you're restarting the scenario over or you want to go somewhere else entirely. Learn how to stay asleep, and that is something that's really going to strengthen your own control of your dream and just your dreaming state, is to tell yourself that you have control and you don't need to wake up. A lot of people will also look at the symbolism in dreams, and although there are a lot of interesting different symbolisms, this is something I tend not to really look into because everyone's dreams are very interpersonal and we all have different references and associations with different symbols, different events, different animals, whatever it is that you're seeing in your dream. But one thing that I do with analyzing is I'll look at what I dreamt, I'll look at my last couple days, and see if there's any way I can relate what I dreamt of with anything I thought about, with something I saw. Maybe it's a movie you watched or something that someone said, or an emotion that you had, or a fear that you might have, or a worry that you're thinking about in the future. A lot of times these will reincarnate itself into your dreams, and that's where you'll see a lot of these symbols. So oftentimes I will not look into these symbols as something, as a guide online, because it is, like I said, very interpersonal, and it's something that you should look inward and try to decipher what these messages mean rather than referring online for these different symbols. So in conclusion, lucid dreaming is such an exciting tool that we can use for a plethora of reasons, whether it's personal growth, spiritual development, connecting with past spirits, or just having an awesome time. I swear it's so much fun. If that's the reason why you want to do it, I fully support it. I feel like everyone should experience lucid dreaming. It's a powerful tool that we can use and continue to develop throughout our lives. And honestly, I mean, they're experiences that we can't have or are very unlikely to have in the physical realm. So we are lucky to have this tool, and I hope some of these techniques and ideas have sparked some interest with you and you give it a try. Let me know how your journey goes. I am so curious how these methods work for you and what your experiences are like. I could talk dreams all day. As always, go ahead and like this video if you found it useful. Give me a subscribe if you haven't yet. I will see you guys on the next video.